So let's have a look at the footnote here. There's a footnote. It says, this statement requires some slight qualification. We mean that no foreign or outside influence can absorb or annihilate the sexual qualities of the soul.
Wow.
It is therefore true that the masculine and feminine attributes of the soul cannot be destroyed as a whole, but the masculine portion may attract its feminine portion or soulmate, and by the intense selfhood of its own dominant forces virtually destroy her manifested existence. This absorption, however, is a very rare occurrence and only transpires in their case of those magical adepts of the astral plane who have attained their physiological powers by a complete polarization of all the truly human elements of their internal natures. Such magical adepts become the concentrated centers of spiritual selfishness, but teach the external masses that self is the very demon they have conquered. These occult processes have transformed them into sexless beings who are neither human nor divine, and yet they profess to be the guardians of secret doctrine of sacred science. In this latter capacity, they have formulated much erroneous philosophy, since they are self-magnetized and self-deluded by their own positive idea of nature to such an extent that they cannot penetrate beyond their own astral spheres, nor receive any knowledge which elevates the soul to higher views and truer conceptions of God's infinite resources. It is from this magical school of thought that mankind have received the doctrines which teach that sex is only the appearance of matter and not a spiritual reality. See, that's the left-hand path. They're teaching the physical... Yes. Whereas nothing in this mighty universe is so manifest and so eternal as the male and female expressions of the divine soul. These adepts profess to have blended the two, but they have simply polarized the one and created a conscious selfhood of the other. That's the left-hand path. These adepts profess to have blended the two, but they have simply polarized the one and created a conscious selfhood of the other. All right, so I'll continue on. Therefore, so it is impossible for the absolute ego to descend into more outward conditions than the paradisaical state. So in order to attain the full development of its internal attributes, its own soul, expressed as male and female elements, is projected outward upon the subjective arc of the great cycle. Whereas after passing through innumerable spheres and states of life, it certainly reaches the polarizing point of creation, which is the turning point in its cycle of necessity. From this point, the journey back again, until it reaches the climax of material forms, is traversed upon the objective arc. We see, therefore, that the nature of sex is to give perfect expression to the two grand attributes of deific life, love and wisdom. And to attain this end, the divine soul of the absolute ego becomes differentiated as the male and female consciousness of itself, in perfect expression of the positive and negative forces of its being. Lastly, that when once this differentiation is completed, they exist as the divine idea of the microcosm and constitute its universe, even as the myriad creations of space constitute the divine idea of the deity. This being so, each portion of the dual soul maintains forever the perfect symbol of its eternal qualities and always gives expression in its outward form to the symbol of its nature. The functions of the soul are to awaken and round out those qualities and attributes which are latent within. And as we have seen that there are two sets of soul qualities, one the necessary outcome of the other, we see the harmony and the philosophy of the twin forms of life to express them. Both male and female, as we have endeavoured to show, possess the necessary positive qualities for the perfect subjugation of material forces. Hence it is that when the souls are projected on their journey into matter, they travel upon divergent lines. Those lines, if it were possible to measure them, would form two sides of an equilateral triangle, with matter as a base, while the apex indicates the central ego or point of projection. The return journey between the mineral and man forms another triangle, which marks off the objective and subjective arcs of the soul's evolution. See figures 1 and 2. When both arcs are combined, they represent the mystical seal of King Solomon, the double triangle or six-pointed star. This completes... Yes, the male phallic and the female uterus or ovaries. This completes two acts in the grand drama of life. The closing tableau in the first represents the stationary forces of the crystal, in the second the external conditions of human life. The third and last act in the human arc briefly reviews the whole of the previous two and evolves another six-pointed star which represents the higher and lower planes of manifestation. But in its grand outlines, it is also a spiritual triune whose closing tableau represents the reunion of the twin souls symbolized by St. John and the celestial marriage of the Lamb. Thus we have the one divine monad or ego to begin with, and in the course of its expression and of the gradual evolution of its sexual attributes, we see it slowly transform into a trinity. This trinity, in the sub-cycles of its evolution, forms three triangles which constitute the symbol of its forces, three times expressed upon the three sub-cycles of its journey, vis-a-vis the subjective arc or the arc of unconsciousness, the objective arc or arc of intelligence, and the ethereal arc or arc cycle of soul consciousness. The results so far of our present research show that the origin of sex begins with God, and that the nature of sex is the manifestation of his biune spirit, and its functions the spiral motion of its evolutionary forces that awaken and round out its latent possibilities. It now becomes our duty to consider the third subject of our subject, and that is a very short one to read, and the most important one, and I'll be finished in about 5 minutes. This one is so important. This is the twin souls and the twin flames, and how to, the relation of the sexes to each other. Okay, so give me 1 minute. I need to do a pit stop, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so you can continue speaking if you need to.
All right, as we are segueing here, are there any more questions in the chat? And we're coming towards the end of the show here.
Okay, Cosmic, I'm just going to read the last bits now, and
Yeah, we've got about
this is
20 more minutes.
20 more minutes?
Yep.
Okay, it's worth me reading it. Please believe me. So, male and female exist in nature as the representative expressions of love and wisdom. Their functions correspond exactly with their sex. In actual life, it may be truly said that woman is ever the center of the love element of humanity. Her thoughts and desires constitute the index of her mission on earth. In her we hold the gentle, yielding, loving nature which softens and harmonizes man's position, a positive spirit of aggression. In her delicate nature we see the lovely center of material care and affection. She is the weaker portion of the dual soul upon the physical plane, but her physical weakness constitutes the great center of her spiritual strength. As the weaker sex, we should naturally think that her true place was that of subjection to man. But, on the contrary, her more delicate forces become her most potent weapon, and instead of being the subject, she ascends the throne and of the conqueror. Man becomes the pliable medium in her hands, and is led willingly captive by her subtle power and resources. In man, we behold the positive, aggressive lord of creation, that portion of soul which becomes the restless explorer of nature, seeking for wisdom. Man's will is electric, penetrating, and disruptive. The will of woman is magnetic, attractive, and formative. Hence, they express the polar opposites of nature's creative forces. The twin souls are related to each other primarily as brother and sister, and finally as man and wife. In this latter state, their true meeting place is the plane of embodied humanity. But during the present cycle, very few of these spiritual unions take place. But whenever the two halves of the same ego, divine ego, do meet, love is the natural consequence. Not the physical sensations produced by the animal magnetisms of their sexual natures, but the deep, silent emotions of the soul, the responsive vibrations of their internal natures toward each other, the blissful silence of two souls in perfect rapport wherein neither careth to speak. This spiritual love is the outcome of their divine relationship and should never be set aside nor crushed by any worldly considerations. But on the contrary, wherever possible, these pure intuitions of the soul should be obeyed. They cannot deceive nor lead astray, because the soul never makes a mistake when claiming its own. Should circumstances in life or any other material consideration prevent their rightful union, the fact that they have actually met will constitute an invisible connection, a spiritual rapport between them which no earthly power nor device can break. And deep down within the secret chambers of the heart, the image of the loved one will be treasured up, and its continual presence will poison and corrode everything which pertains toward an ephemeral affection for another. If a female should marry under these circumstances and become the mother of children, it will frequently transpire that the actual germs of spiritual life will be transmitted by this absent one. The external husband only provides the purely physical conditions for the manifestation of the spiritual offspring of the true Lord. The rejected soul mate, the spiritual bridegroom, is the real father, and very often the child born will resemble the image of its true parent. So there is much more to continue reading, but you know, it's I suppose we can do it in another setting, and
And in
the
that
whole
one, we'll
chapter.
actually have the text up. Now that I know what book you're reading from, I can actually have the text up as you're reading it so others can follow along with us. But in the meantime, guys, definitely get this wonderful, wonderful manuscript by Thomas H. Burgoyne, The Light of Egypt, Volume 1 and Volume 2. That's awesome
And
stuff.
And put the rest of the chapter up, please, brother, at the end of this video. So as we're finishing up, please scroll up and get everybody to be able to see, just in case there's people out there who can't afford the book. I've got a PDF copy I can share with anyone who just simply can't go to Amazon and get it.
Okay.
But as for those who can, please purchase it through my website, universaltruthschool.com. And go to universaltruthschool.com and share. Go to MrAstrotheology YouTube channel and share, subscribe, share again. Please get syncretism out there, okay? So scroll all the way to the end there, Cosmic.
Okay. Okay. No problem. I will definitely do that. When I go into the post-editing version, I will actually have a video of the reading there. Let me just go ahead and say we have been discussing the right-hand path. And as you can see, it's scrolling on the top of your screen. You see it there, how you can get in contact with Santos Bonacci. As it scrolls, you'll see that you can find him on Twitter at MrAstrotheology. You can find him on YouTube at MrAstrotheology. You can find him on Facebook, facebook.com/Santos-Bonacci. And of course, the primary way to get in touch with him is at his website, universaltruthschool.com. And let me ask, they can email you there. Was it santos@universaltruthschool.com?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
No, it's contact@universaltruthschool.com.
There we go. I will put that up in the post. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Santos, let me just say here, brother, just in our live viewing, we've already had 476 people viewing you, brother, just in the past 2 hours. Yeah, so we're making some strides here. That's awesome stuff. Any last minute things you want to say?
No, but just do click on my videos going back 5 years, 6 years, even when I was doing heliocentrism wrong with the wrong model. Do click on there, because every video is unique and there are gems in them. Just like this show is unique, and the gems in this show I'll probably never repeat again, ever. So this show is unique. All my productions are. I never repeat anything. And I always read from resources and share. And so that's the best way to do it, okay? So people are not forever learning but never coming to an accurate knowledge of truth. So go there and share, guys. Share. Really, share my channel, share my YouTube channel and the website, because it's better now. It's got much more information and will help a lot more people. Thank you.
There's a blog on there. There's a store on there. I've seen it revamped. It has been revamped, guys. You want to check out the universaltruthschool.com. We and Santos are working on some other endeavors, mystery schools, and all other kind of ideas. So, guys, definitely get over there. Santos, I'm going to let you end end. I know you wanted to pray out last time. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. You can go ahead and pray us out.
Yeah, well, what a fine way to do it than the Maha Mantra. So, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radhe, that's Radharani, that's how to praise the goddess of heaven, Jaya Radhe. And also Rastafari. So, praise the holy names of God. Thank you.
No, Stephen, let's go ahead and take us on out here.